All right, everyone. Hello. I'm going to be making this quick video on a couple things that I really don't like about the Toyota Mirai, the second gen specifically. Primarily going over, I'm going to be going over pretty much one or two universal things, and everything else is pretty much because I'm a taller guy. But let's dive in. All right, first and foremost, a lot of you Mirai owners know the floor mat, especially the passenger fronts, and same goes with the rears. I'm sorry, the car is really dirty, but this floor mat moves so much. I don't know if it's because the lack of spikes here or what used to be spikes, but this thing moves around a ton. I know a couple suggestions were to get one of those weatherproof ones, but this is a really expensive car, or it's a pricier car, and these floor mats feel like they're from a Toyota Corolla. No knock on the Corolla per se, but if you're paying that kind of money for a Mirai, I expect nicer floor mats, and this thing always gets moved around if you go in and out, if you have any passenger at all. Same goes with the rears, they do the same thing. Same type of material, and every time someone steps out, puts one foot to push off of, this thing slides, and then you have a mess. So there's one. Here's number two, it's the trunk space. Obviously, you have the hydrogen pack in the center, and then you're not able to pull down the seats, but this is all about what's annoying about everything, like not what I wish I could have, but more. Anyway, the capacity of the trunk, very small. I mentioned in many videos before, one set of golf clubs. You could probably fit 3, maybe 4 small ones, but regardless, whenever you're doing big grocery runs or you need to pick up something large, that's what you got. I don't know the exact capacity, but check out the website, themiraiclub.com. There's an article up there about it. But this car is pretty big. It's off the Lexus LS chassis. It uses the same one, slightly slimmer. Shorter, I mean. But regardless, big car. I understand there's a lot of packaging trickery that needs to happen to fit the hydrogen fuel cell and the everything else, but trunk space is not great. Heading back over to the front, I know with newer cars in general, not particularly with the Mirai, with this kind of newer dash setup, with newer designs, everything protrudes out a little bit more. So if you're taller like me, you bump your knee on this and it hurts. But I really wanted to mention that this setup, if you're a taller guy or a gal and your seat's further back, this one's back pretty far, more than it should, but let's move around to the other side so I'll give you a more realistic comparison. All right, we're on the driver's side now. Open the door. So this is my normal driving position, and I think for my size, I'm 6'2". I drive pretty close from what people say. I do the classic sit, and if you're wrist hangover, that's where you should be, and I'll explain that in a bit. But okay, so this is where I sit, and I always have to tuck my head pretty, I have to be conscious about tucking my head to get into the car, or else I bump this A-pillar pretty hard. So if I can show you how I do this. So I'm like this. If I do this, gotta really tuck to get in, and then once you're in, you're good to go. But again, I'm all the way back right now, hands straight forward, and then the wrist hang. This is where I grab the wheel. So yeah, it's a little tight. Since we're in here, another gripe I have, but probably a taller person gripe, but the kind of seam, the channel you get to stick your right leg between the steering wheel and the dash is really narrow, and I'm gonna exaggerate a little bit like an infomercial, but my knee, that's all the wiggle room I have. So on long trips, it gets kind of annoying, and in the back of my mind, I always think if I God forbid was to get in a car accident, this leg is gonna get pinned. So here, I'll put my foot on the gas. This is it. This is how much wiggle room I have. And I know with Toyota's new steering wheel technology, they don't need a direct connection. It's drive-by-wire or steer-by-wire, so you don't have this huge tunnel. But anyway, yeah, not a lot of room for your right leg if you're a taller guy. So outside of that, the line of which I see the road, I'm a taller person, but again, you're gonna hear that a lot. This is my line of sight. My eyes are just at the top of the window, which is, I've gotten kind of used to that. This might be more of an American problem thing, or I just need to lose weight, but the width of the seats, they're too narrow. I found this to be the case, not just for the Mirai, but most Toyota products, especially the Tacoma, I'm very familiar with because a buddy has one and I ride with him all the time. My rear is a little too big for the seat, so they press on these the side bolsters pretty aggressively, and it gets very uncomfortable on long trips. But short trips, they're very comfortable, very nice seats. But small thing, but I think that's might be a me problem, or if you're a larger person, just consider that. You do feel these side bolsters, you're pretty much sitting about halfway up them. Okay, next up is for most hybrid, fuel cell, any Toyota product that is not a petrol car, this ready light signal is the same kind of tone for all cars I found, and it does not match this beautiful display. And let me show you. I'm gonna exaggerate. I'm gonna lower the brightness of this display, and you can see it is bright green. It doesn't match any tone of the display, and I think it really, they lost an opportunity there. But I understand it's like, I'm nitpicking these things, but I understand it's a business and they're using this for across so many platforms. But that's one thing. Such a beautiful display. The color's off with this light, and when you dim it, it's still very bright, and I feel like it looks cheaper. But yeah, small thing. I've mentioned this many times in other videos, but the rear seats are very tight. This is the same driving position as I had left, and again, I'm 6'2", but my butt is all the way back, and I'm comfortable, but my feet are tucked in the seat, and I'm rubbing a little bit. And this massive center column where the fuel cell sits or kind of goes through, it does limit a lot of the room back here, but yeah, for how large this car is, it is very tight back here. I don't have kids, but I would imagine if you do, you care about this. But the opening for the rear seats, and if you were to put a child seat back here, it's really tight. I don't know the exact measurements, but I just know every time I load up, if I do a large Costco run and I need to load up some waters or whatever it is back here, it's really tight to get your body through here, and especially anything that's a little wider. Whenever we do recycling Costco runs, I just noticed that this bulge really impedes on that kind of entry. So if you do have a child seat, I just wanted to mention that. Not really a gripe, but an announcement. So those are my pretty much small, I would say relatively small gripes about the car. Other than that, I love the car. Usability wise, I really wish the trunk was a little bigger, but overall happy with it. I will do a video on kind of do I regret buying this car? Do I love it? Do I hate it? I'll do a little more thorough video on that. But those are the little things that annoy me about the car. Again, I think the mats, the floor mats, the trunk are two valid reasons. The other stuff, if you're not 6'2" or you're normal size, or I guess like shorter, then I don't think you'll have a lot of the problems that I do. But again, love the styling, I have to say something nice. All right, but thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.